Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
Well, welcome to another edition of Freed on Business. This is episode number 838. I get those numbers mixed up. 838. We've been doing this for 16, 17 years. We're going to be talking to architect Kobi Karp. We're going to be discussing design trends in South Florida. Kobi's famous for his residential towers, office buildings, commercial projects, as well as his fabulous interiors practice. We're going to try to touch a little bit on all of those different things. So I want to welcome everybody to today's show. And I want to remind everybody that our sponsors, Warren Henry, has been with us for, I think I was checking it out earlier today, 2012. How long is that? 2012, 2013, 14 years, basically. And we've been doing the show for probably about 17 years at this point. Was just up at the University of Florida. The Bergstrom Center is one of our sponsors since the beginning. As I wanted to mention, everybody, we are going to be talking with Kobi Karp. We're going to be discussing housing trends. Welcome to the show. We're streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. You can look for us at Freed on Business or at Jim Freed, depending on the platform that you're on. And now on with the show. We're going to be talking to Kobi Karp, Miami Podcast Studios. Where's Mr. Karp? There he is. Kobi, I want to welcome you to the show. I want to thank you, first of all, for helping all of those at-risk kids with their backpacks in your back to school charity work that we did together. Thank you so much for doing that. I know that Brother Maddox and the rest of the kids were really, really happy with those.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
It's our pleasure. Now, I've known you for quite some time. I think from the start, you've been the business person's architect, businessman before, but now that we have to be more the 2025, the business person's architect, you have all kinds of clients today. You're known for your signature condo buildings, but I know you've been doing more and more office and retail and also design. What are some of the trends that you're seeing here in South Florida as your practice has been evolving?
So first and foremost, Jimmy, thank you so much for having me on this show with you. It's a real pleasure to be here with you. Your collection of information, and it's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Some of the things that we're seeing here in Florida right now are quite interesting, in a sense that there is a shift in the population that is coming to Florida. And the population is looking at Florida where maybe before it was a little bit more sea, sun, and sand. Now it's a little bit more, let's come and have our family here. Let's bring our kids from school. Let's bring our life here. People have moved here from San Francisco, like folks from Founders Fund. They came here, they liked what they saw, and they established their lives here. And along with that, they establish the people who come with their company and set up their life here. And I see the same thing happening with folks coming in from Chicago, Los Angeles, especially now after the fire. South and Central America, quite a few people are still coming here, which is a very interesting progression. And I'm seeing, of course, many people come in from the Northeast continuously. And people who are coming here are looking to establish their lives here, their livelihood, and they're coming here younger rather than older, meaning they're coming here post-college, they're coming here post just getting married and setting up their lives and their livelihood here. So it's a very interesting time to be part of Florida. And I've been here since 1988. And so it was a little bit different back then, Jimmy. It was Miami Vice and Scarface days. But now it's a bit more an opportunity to see how it is that long term there is a population evolution that is very unique and special.
So that would have significant design implications from both an exterior and interior standpoint, as well as unit size and unit mix. I would have to imagine that you're seeing different constituencies asking for different things. How has the change in immigration of these new residents impacted the designs that you've been delivering to the marketplace?
The designs today are radically different than they were a while back. The demand on quality, on good finishes, is a very strong desire. I'll give you an example. We did a number of buildings in Surfside, whether they are the Surf Club, which is more glass and crystalline with historic preservation, or whether it is Arte with a stone angled terraces. And stone, I mean finishes on the outside are stone. The materials are exquisite. Even now, we're finishing other projects at the Seaway. It's all stone. We're doing projects in Bay Harbor. The condominiums have beautiful stone finishes on the inside and beautiful materials and stone finishes on the outside, like Indian Creek Residences, Bay Harbor Tower, and the Regency projects. So what I'm seeing a drive and a move towards a higher quality of design, higher quality of finishes and materials. And it's not just luxury condominiums. We're doing a project in Edgewater, the Cove, same thing. We're doing a project in Edgewater, which is a hotel and lodging residences. Very, very high amenities, quality of amenities with cutting edge technology. And that goes from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, where we finished the Four Seasons in Fort Lauderdale. And now we're finishing Saline in Fort Lauderdale. Those projects are not only nice finishes and nice materials and beautiful amenities, but there are linear parks around the whole property, mixed use of luxury residential with restaurants downstairs where the community can come and gather. It is really a more urban and urbane design direction that is very, very exciting. It's a place where you have everything you need nearby, whether it's a school, doctor, work, live, your exercise, your yoga, your Pilates, your pedicure, your manicure, and your veterinarian and your dog care is nearby, within a walking distance. So the quality of the building is getting better, but so is the quality of your life. The quality of your life is getting better because you're spending less time traveling and running around and more time being with the ones you like and you love on a daily basis, which here in Florida and the beautiful tropical weather that we have, and we're very lucky to be the only state in the lower 48 with subtropical weather. Nobody else has that. So the quality of life here is awesome. And that is what I'm seeing as a progression in design, a progression in development, and an overall vista into the way people live here in Florida, more so than ever before.
Well, Kobi, thank you for describing the way I live and where I live, the building I live in. You described the whole thing. But, one thing that I would like to mention is the fact that as these people come and they want to have their families, it used to be that they would be small, 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom convertible, 2 bedroom convertible. Today, I see a demand probably for more 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, and exterior living spaces. Are you seeing that in your designs, and how are you accommodating that?
People today look into their lifestyle location of where they live as a place of comfort. You generally have larger units where people can spend more time in their units, and you also have units that we are designing which are part of a macro lifestyle where you have luxurious amenities that people can come and congregate. There are lounges, there's places for food and beverage, health and spa, hammam, wellness, cold plunge, hot plunge, all coming together for people to get out of their residences, which are very well appointed. We sell them appointed, we sell them complete with FF&E and Wi-Fi. And you just come on in and you move into your lifestyle unit. And then within that residential unit, you have an ability to become part of the bigger vibe and energy of the building. And you have so much more space and comfort to spread around. The first one we did like this was Wynwood 25 in Miami. And people said, oh no, it's never going to be successful. Nobody will want to live in Wynwood. But guess what? Not only was it successful, there's about, 280, 300 residential, but the whole amenity areas in the garden, on the rooftop, pools and amenities floating on top of the building, made it a destination. Where downstairs at the ground level, they have great restaurants, Uchi and all kinds of food and beverage restaurants. Downstairs, across the street, brought in Sparrow, which brought in the Moxie Hotel. So you get that whole unique destination in a place that when I first grew up here, it was an industrial destination, warehouses. So architecturally, what we did is not only did we create this unique vibe of a building, but we also penetrated the blocks. We made passages, we made paseos, vehicular and pedestrian, so that the blocks are not so big, Jimmy. You don't need to walk down these huge, lengthy industrial blocks, but they make them into these cool alleys and vibe streets. And that's what makes, the business of design and the business of architecture so special and unique here in Florida. Because when you build these buildings and they create shade and shadow and protect you from the rain and from the sun on a daily basis, it's phenomenal. You want to walk around and go downstairs, go to Pastis, go see Toonie and his beautiful designs that he has in his warehouses with beautiful art. It's really a cultural event that is second to none in the United States. And when you come here, you start to appreciate it, that you have these neighborhoods, Wynwood, the art, the culture. I gave you the example of the art and the murals and the Peter Tani designs and arts that there is. And then you can go to Coconut Grove and have a completely different vibe, right? We're doing a project there called Opus on top of the hill. It's sold out. Just about the neighborhood and community. You can go downstairs, go to Sadell. Great schools, great community, great offices nearby. It's just like a neighborhood. Same thing is happening in other locations. And what I'm seeing is that transfers itself to where people live. They're happy. They don't necessarily move out. What I mean by that is people who live in Coconut Grove don't necessarily go so much to Aventura. People go to Aventura, don't necessarily go to Wynwood. People go to Wynwood, don't necessarily go to Miami Beach. People go to Miami Beach, don't necessarily go to Coral Gables. So pretty soon, sometimes you get out of your neighborhood and district, but generally speaking, people stay in that location for extended period of times. And on the weekend or a few times a month or a year, they spread out. But usually they stay where they are, and because they have everything there.
Well, you got to the bottom line on that, and that's that these are all vertically integrated neighborhoods where people don't have to leave anymore. I recently got my latest car at Warren Henry Automotive, and I only put 3,000 miles on my car last year. I got the low mile car this time because I really don't go anywhere. I lived in Coconut Grove where it was 750 steps to Fresh Market and 800 steps to CVS and 815 steps to Wells Fargo. Here in Edgewater, it's 850 steps to Publix. Now it's 9 blocks to the beautiful Whole Foods. You got all these walkable restaurants. I'm right on the bay, walking on the Bay Walk. It's incredible lifestyle here. People talk to me about the vehicular traffic, but I like to point out the evolution in the pedestrian traffic. It was completely predictable, and it's rare to see the people walking or going between neighborhoods, but they do spend their most of their life in these vertically integrated neighborhoods. We've talked about residential, Kobi, just a little bit on the commercial that you've been dabbling into. You've been doing some very high profile commercial projects. I don't know if you can talk much about them, but if you could give a little insight, I think it would really help people understand the lifestyle that you're helping create down here.
So I'll give you a few examples of some projects that we recently received financing for. We received financing for a very unique project in West Palm Beach, in a district called Northwood. And it's the art and culture and historic district of the community. And it's up on the ridge a little bit, and it's very unique and very special. And we have a development there headed by Gilbert Benamou and his partners, and it's 300 plus residential units, and it has mix of buildings, and it has historic buildings surrounding it, has great retail commercial that then connects you on to next to the railroad tracks. And that whole ambiance and that whole vibe in West Palm Beach, which is really a multifamily rental project, is just highly successful and got the financing, and it's halfway out of the ground. So what's unique about it, Jimmy, is that places and destinations that people have looked at in a different light while in the past 20 years, that is really changing. That is really changing drastically now, more so than ever before. I'll give you another example, which is in a completely different direction in the city of North Miami Beach. And in the city of North Miami Beach, there was a campus called NSU campus. And Ari Pearl and his partners bought it. And they made it into a multifamily residential. Again, it's not one building, it's a complex of buildings, just like Northwood. And the buildings talk to each other and they relate to each other, and you're building a district. And they built this district basically of hundreds of units. It's about 700 plus multifamily rental apartments. And what's unique and special about it, it has a waterway where you can paddle and you can kayak, and you can walk to the park and to the sports field nearby, and you can walk to the school. So the quality of life is extremely well. And so what I'm seeing is that, and that project is approved. It just received its financing as well. And its financing for these projects is 100, 150, $200 million. We just got another project in Edgewater approved as a condominium. And where it's a condominium in Edgewater, it is not small units, it's large units, all overseeing the water. But really, the project received its financing completely, ready to go. So what's interesting is that you have these developments and they vary. And then what happens is that they become these destinations. It's my son. Uh, that is really unique and special, Jimmy. It's completely different neighborhoods. We just moved ahead and received the financing for a golf course, luxury golf course that has been around for a long time. It used to be the Diplomat Golf Course for the Diplomat Hotel in Hollywood, in Hallandale Beach. So we took that golf course, um, revived it with a hotel, Auberge Hotel, revived it with a golf course called Shell Bay with developer Witkoff and Ari Pearl. And then we come back and we introduce residential there, and the residential luxury. And they were selling very well, and they received their financing. So it's really, really a unique opportunity, second to none, that we have to create a vision and present it to you on this podcast. Completely different. I'll give you another example of a building that just received its financing in Miami Beach, which is called the Auberge Shore Club. It's a historic composition of a Cromwell building. The Cromwell is 100 years old, 1920s. Shore Club is 1940s. And those two buildings together are rising with a new building, which is a condominium, which is sold and it's signed up and starting construction. What I'm seeing is that there's a variety of these residences. I gave you an example of CRA district in Northwood in West Palm Beach. I gave you an example in North Miami Beach along the water, multifamily rentals. And I gave you an example as well of a project in Edgewater, which is a luxury condominium. And these kind of buildings, along with Miami Beach, with the Shore Club, we have the Ritz Residence, even the Raleigh's moving ahead. All of those projects are moving ahead, and it seems as though the variety of the people who move here and the variety of the people who need these residences is really the unique opportunity to make it special and to make it different.
Well, Kobi, I really appreciate your insights. If you could hold on, we're going to go to a quick break, talk about our sponsors at Warren Henry, then we're going to come back to you for the last word. Can you stick with us for a second?
Yeah, of course I can, Jimmy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate you too, Kobi. Miami Podcast Studios, take it away. I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry Automotive for being sponsors of the podcast. Excuse me, going on 14 years, maybe longer. About 14 years now. And I want to thank Warren, Larry, Ismet, the whole team over at Warren Henry. They recently got our latest car there. It's a Lincoln. So remember, whenever you want to buy or lease a car, you always want to get the best advantage and deal that you can. That's why I have to go to Warren Henry. I went up to their flagship store at 151st and Biscayne, where they sell Land Rover, Range Rover, Jaguar, and now Lincoln. I got a beautiful Lincoln Nautilus up there, Lincoln Nautilus. Then you go to Gainesville. They've got a tremendous Audi store up in Gainesville. Down in the Keys, they've got a beautiful store in Key West that sells all their great nameplates. Down in South Dade, they've got their award-winning Land Rover, Range Rover store. And, of course, out in Broward, they've got their Land Rover, Range Rover store as well. They all carry great cars. They all come with the Warren Henry Advantage, which includes great benefits. And they've also got the family-oriented marketing and follow-up. We've been shopping there for decades, and They treat my beautiful wife, my mom, my friends, my clients, everybody like solid gold. So if you need new purchase or new lease, reach out to our friends at Warren Henry Auto. And remember, always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
So we're here with visionary businessman and architect Kobi Karp. Kobi is single-handedly reshaping the way people live and experience South Florida. I want to get Kobi back on, and I want to talk just a little bit, Kobi. The bottom line here, we've talked about what South Florida used to be like. We talked about what South Florida is becoming today. What do you see South Florida becoming down the road?
I think South Florida, the projects we're designing now, again, are continuation in the direction that we have been discussing here. And I'll give you a few examples. We're now designing a few projects here, which are urban infill, but the quality of the product is getting better and better. Came to us a project in Wynwood, which we did as a branded hotel, right? It's a Moxie branded hotel in Wynwood. And the branded hotel came in, and along with it came a restaurant called Sparrow. And that restaurant lifestyle demands a certain quality of individual that desires to spend time and money in this community of Wynwood, which has high-end restaurant, and down the street it has a walk-in taco shop. It's interesting because, for example, we took another restaurant that came in from Los Angeles called Delilah, and we took it into an old building in Brickell, and we opened it up in the corner building, but there we did something completely different than they have done ever before, Los Angeles or anywhere. And we opened up the luxury restaurant into a place that can open up to an outdoor terrace and to the marina. And we did that design about, 2 years ago, and we built it a year ago. We finished it. And now they are building across the bridge, the Mandarin. So it's a prelude to the DNA and the thought process that on a macro picture is evolving. And the Mandarin that has existed in Miami, and the wholesale demolition of that building and the rebuilding of a new Mandarin shows you the direction that we are going into in the near and distant future in Florida. There is a certain level of intelligence, a certain level of creativity, a certain level of demand, which has not existed previously. And that level is continuously growing and evolving. I gave you the Diplomat golf course, what it used to be, and what it will be when it's done with a luxury Shell Bay golf course and Auberge hotel and residences. It's really phenomenal to have that happen. And when you look at it in retrospect, you say, oh, maybe I was thinking about it in the wrong way. Maybe I was undervaluing my neighborhood, my location, my community, my county. my state. What we are doing now, building in Sarasota, that's forthcoming, cutting edge. What we are doing now in Fort Lauderdale on the next level of submissions, unique, extremely unique. I give you a small idea and a small thought process, right? Just in a direction that you can think about. We did on Fisher Island, Palazzo del Sol in Luna. And then next door we did the residences. And people all said, oh, Kobi, I don't think that people will appreciate the location of your building so much because you're by the ferry and you're not facing the beach and you're not facing the beach club and you're not facing downtown Miami. But really what people wanted is a more superior built product, a more superior finished material, a more superior flow plan. And that is what we have been able to provide. And that is a unique thought process because historically it was sea, sun, and sand. But now it is quality of life, quality of health, quality of design. That is something now that people seek more so than ever before. And it is not just into the condominiums or the hotels, it's into workforce housing that we are doing. We just received an approval in the city of North Miami in a 26-acre site called Claude Pepper Park. And we took a contaminated 13 acres of that 26-acre site and reinvigorated it with a main street and mixed-use residences and workforce housing and elderly housing, and brought in the Jewish home to provide care, and then tied together to an improved and updated Claude Pepper Park Community Center and sports field and padel and kids play area and walking path and whole lifestyle that is about the Vita quality, which then makes it the town square, not just for the multifamily development that we received an approval for from the municipality and the great mayor and commissioners of the city of North Miami, but also from the neighbors. All the neighbors now come in and they enjoy and they benefit from this quality of life that is second to none, that has never existed before. And this kind of a vision and a thought process of a DNA is completely different. And this is workforce housing with CRA and community benefits and money available. And it's a return to the community. And I'll give you an example, which is very unique. We started it a few years ago, and that was kind of the prelude to it. When you come out of Red Rooster in Overtown, you walk across the street and you look across the street and you see this lyric theater, historic, and then you see this residential there, and people stand outside in front and go, oh, this is so beautiful. I'd love to live here. Well, you can't. You can't buy it and you can't rent it. It's affordable housing, but it's designed in a way that is attractive, in a way that makes you want to live there. And that is something that is unique and special and will continue to be here in Florida. And that is a built product, and that built product in front of Red Rooster in Overtown is cutting edge. And not only that, it's 2 blocks away or 3 blocks away from a great location that we just finished, which is a school, an educational and sports facility that Alonzo Mourning and his wife created. It's called the Overtown Youth Center next to the historic church. It's managed and run by Tina Brown. People in the community have a vision. People in the community have an ability and a desire to push it forward, Jimmy, like never before. And it is very, very strong, and it's not artificial. It's natural, it's homegrown, and it's root based. And these people who create these places are all locals. And they're all different because they all come from different. Some are local from Haiti, some are local from the Bahamas, some are local from Minneapolis, Minnesota, some are local from New York, New Jersey, San Francisco, I gave you an example, Los Angeles. But everybody has that kind of a desire and a motivation here. And I don't know if it's because we have a lot more sunlight in Florida, daylight. I don't know if it's because the weather here is more, conducive to thought process and enjoyment because of how beautiful it is. But I think that really the architecture, me as an architect to be here, has been very, very pleasant and very enlightening since I've arrived here in 1988, which I like to call it the Miami Vice and Scarface days. But those days are long and gone. The days today of cutting edge technology, medicine, we have cutting edge research here. We have companies that are moving here from Chicago. Companies like Amazon, they are coming here and basing themselves here because the quality of life here is phenomenal. Founders Fund could have gone anywhere they wanted, and they come over here. And the buildings are getting filled up, slowly but surely, by companies and individuals who are really looking for something special. And it's not just Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Sarasota or Palm Beach or West Palm Beach. It goes Satellite Beach. If you look at the physical location of Satellite Beach, which is what it's called and has been called for over 50, 60, 70 years, now it's going to be cutting edge, Jimmy, more so than ever before. What Satellite Beach was created for will now come to fruition due to technology and the privatization that we're doing in the United States of America with people like Elon Musk and others. And when you look at it holistically and completely, it connects you to Orlando, to Lake Nona, to Tampa, St. Pete, Fort Myers, to quality of life that, as an architect, I grew up studying, Rosemary Beach, studying these locations, seaside. Those are beautiful urban planned communities that used to be more for the upper, more expensive class. Now it is for everybody and everything. I gave you the example of what we've done in Overtown. I've given you the example of what we've done in Claude Pepper. And we have 3 more to go. We just received awards for 3 more projects in Dade County with Redwood, with other folks. Phenomenal projects, great locations. Just walk down and you're right there. You have public transportation and you have trains and you are connected. And like you just stated, the quantity of steps that you measure, that you take, and the quantity of miles that you slowly reduce on your car, it comes to the point where a car is not something you want to own. A car will be something like those little automatic robotic pods that are on the sidewalks delivering food and medicine and whatever else they deliver. You get in and you get delivered in one of those cars. Who needs to own a car? Who wants to? I don't want to drive. I'd rather sit in the car, take a nap, read a book, catch up on my emails. I don't want to drive. It's not interesting. Actually, it's redundant. It's a waste of a life. And that is where the thought process and the whole typology of who we are and how we behave and how we design on a daily basis makes all the difference, Jimmy. It's completely changing. And we have the ability to change it. We used to not have the ability. When you and I were growing up, we were tied to a TV. TV had 3 stations, ABC, CBS. That's it, NBC. That's all we had. Today, it's a completely different rodeo, completely, which lets us think in a completely different way. That is what makes the design and the creativity here in Florida for us, for me, very exciting, very unique, very special, and allows us to come out a box thinking of solutions and ideas that most people do not think about. And being here in Florida, I think, is an asset. Being here in Florida as an architect gives me an opportunity to think out of the box in a completely different and unique and special way.
Wow. Um, I guess you're really not just Kobi Karp, businessman, architect for the business person, but you're actually Kobi Karp placemaker. I just took the train. I literally don't even work on the train. I watch the different neighborhoods and how they're growing. I have a friend who lives in Satellite Beach. You'll be thrilled to hear what you just said. And it's interesting, the neighborhoods and locations from Northwood to Wynwood. I've done I would say the first transitional deal in a lot of those different neighborhoods, right? From Northwood, a 90 unit deal that was Fannie and Freddie financed, smaller units for the people that lived and worked there at the time. Wynwood, we know the deals that we've worked on together in Wynwood. So it's interesting to hear you talk about being a placemaker and how each neighborhood is completely different. I want to thank you so much for being here with us on the podcast today, Kobi. If you don't mind sticking with us after we wrap up in the green room, I wanted to share just a couple of off-screen ideas with you.
It's my pleasure, and I want to personally thank Grant for putting us together and putting us together with this great technology. He's a very, very good man. Thank you.
The Miami Podcast Studios appreciates you. He's grinning in the background with his big Grizzly Adams look right there. I want to thank you. I want to thank Kobi Karp. I want to remind everybody, you can reach out to me, Jim Freed at Sandstone Realty Advisors. We help a lot of families execute the plans that Kobi's telling you about. We put together the financing. We sell the land. Kobi and I worked together for many, many years. Remind everybody that if you missed something on today's episode, you can check out the replay on any of the socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, or Instagram, at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business. You can head on over to the at Jim Freed YouTube page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to your audio, and check us out on all the other past episodes. I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry. I want to thank our friends at the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies, the Bergstrom Center, and the Collier MSRE program. And it's interesting, we've been doing this for 15, 16, 17 years, and boy, the technology has changed in what we do and how we do it. We're using AI on our podcast every time we do the podcast. So I want to remind everybody, then does this hold true for Mr. Karp? The person who wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there and make it happen. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. The rest of the podcast show is yours, Miami Podcast Studios. Do your magic.